Darth Vader. Terrifying, ruthless, and one of the most feared Sith Lords in all of Star Wars. Throughout his years, it was rare that he ever lost a fight. But what if I told you 10 Jedi were able to defeat him at different points? Well, in this video, we're gonna break down each and every Jedi who defeated Darth Vader, and let's just say his losses are more brutal than you might think. So let's get right into it. Number 1. As for the first Jedi on our list, we have none other than Obi-Wan Kenobi. As we saw in Revenge of the Sith, Anakin was renamed to Darth Vader, and after the tragic events of Order 66, he fought up against his old master, Obi-Wan. The two fought on the lava planet of Mustafar, and although Obi-Wan tried at different points to bring Vader back to the light, it failed. Vader was too far gone and twisted by the dark side. In the end though, he made the big mistake by trying to jump over Obi-Wan, and as a result, Obi-Wan sliced him down, tearing apart 3 of his limbs, both his legs and his left arm. With that, Darth Vader had lost, and Obi-Wan became the first of many Jedi to defeat him. Number 2. Not long after losing to Obi-Wan, Vader was rescued by his new master, Darth Sidious. From there, Sidious brought him to a surgical reconstruction center to fully recover, and so he underwent a brutal surgery. It was in this surgery where he was placed into a brand new suit, and although he survived, this suit caused him immense pain and suffering. Every minute and every second that passed, he was in immense agony, and his life would never be the same ever again. However, he used this pain and suffering as a chance to deepen his connection to the dark side. He had anger, he had hatred, and he was ready to use these emotions. So, not long after being encased into his new suit, Vader was ready for his first mission. This mission was to kill his first Jedi. However, since Obi-Wan took his old lightsaber back when he lost him on Mustafar, Vader was now without a saber. So by killing a Jedi, he would be able to retrieve a lightsaber once again, and from there he'd use the dark side to bleed it to the color red. So that was his plan, and in time, his journey led him to the Jedi Master Karak Infilla. Infilla, just like many other surviving Jedi across the galaxy, was in hiding. That way the Empire wouldn't find him. Unfortunately though, it wasn't enough, because in time, Vader came to find him meditating on a rock. However, before Vader could confront him, he was ambushed by one of Infilla's guards. But let's just say, Vader made light work of him. From there, Vader stole the guard's weapon and used it to fight up against Infilla.
I know what you want. I know why you're here. It's not just to kill me. You came here to get something. I can sense it. You want my lightsaber.
With those words said, Vader and Infilla began to clash, but crazy enough, Infilla defeated Vader within just seconds, bringing him to his knees.
Once you are dead, I will seek out your master and destroy him as well. And then I will restore the light of the Jedi to the galaxy. Think on that, monster.
From there, Infilla then force pushed Vader off the cliff, and so he crashed down to the bottom, gasping for air. Vader was truly defeated. Now, we can only assume that he lost this fight, mainly because it hadn't even been a few weeks yet since he adjusted to his new suit. This new suit restricted him in a lot of ways. He wasn't the same athletic Anakin Skywalker anymore, but now he was more like a machine, and so he had to get used to it. Now, because of all these limitations and these new adjustments for him, he lost pretty quickly to Infilla, but that wouldn't be the end for him quite yet. In time, Vader was able to pick himself back up and eventually got his revenge on Infilla, even killing him by the end. With that became Vader's very first Jedi kill in his new suit, and even more than that, he was able to retrieve Infilla's lightsaber. Regardless of this victory though, he still lost earlier, and technically speaking, it's already the second time he was defeated by a Jedi. Number 3 to number 5. As for the next 3 Jedi on our list, this encounter takes place not long after Vader's loss to Infilla. At this point, he was continuing his missions and hunting Jedi across the galaxy, but there was one Jedi in specific who he was obsessed with, Obi-Wan Kenobi. Ever since his loss to him on Mustafar, Vader wanted revenge on Obi-Wan, so he searched the galaxy for him, hoping to get revenge. In time, he was in luck, as he eventually received intel on where Obi-Wan might be. One of Vader's clone troopers shared that according to sources, Obi-Wan was on the planet Kessel. So without hesitation, Vader traveled to Kessel. But let's just say this was a big mistake. Little did he know, this intel was fake and was actually a trap led by 8 Jedi to capture Vader. So when Vader arrived, he was cornered and pinched down.
Where is Obi-Wan Kenobi?
Not here, Sith. His name baited your trap.
The first one who tells me where to find him lives. The rest of you die.
It is you who will die.
With that, the 8 Jedi began to attack Vader, and at the start, Vader made light work of them all. Within mere minutes, he killed not 1, but 3 of these Jedi instantly. However, he was in for a surprise. At various points, 3 different Jedi were able to defeat him throughout the fight. The first being Justice Far, who slashed Vader along his back, causing him to scream in agony and even retreat. The next being Tu Choi, who cut off Vader's entire hand and injured him completely. As a result of that, Vader admitted that he underestimated him and even said the words, I surrender. Then finally, another Jedi named Roblio Darte, who worked with Chu Choi to bring Vader down once more. Using their combined strength, they threw every nearby boulder and machinery at Vader, bringing him to his knees. Vader was wheezing, his suit was breaking apart, and he was truly defeated. At that moment, it seemed like these Jedi were going to kill him once and for all, until the unexpected happened. Out of nowhere, Vader's clone troopers swept in and rescued him, gunning down these Jedi right away. With that, the clones were then able to defeat them, and Vader was able to escape, living to see another day. Number 6. Not long after escaping, Vader continued his hunt for more Jedi. However, some of his priorities began to shift a bit. While he still wanted revenge against Obi-Wan, he also sought revenge on one more person, his master, Sidious. See, while Vader was grateful for Sidious saving him from his injuries, he also wanted the power to overthrow him. So, he began searching for answers, and that's when he learned of the Jedi named Celeste Morn. Celeste was a Jedi Master who lived around 4,000 years before the events of A New Hope. However, instead of dying back then, she was locked inside a frozen stasis for all this time, ensuring her survival. Now, Vader searched for her inside her stasis because he heard rumors that there was an ancient Sith amulet attached to her. With this amulet, he believed he could use it to overthrow Sidious, so he went for her. In time, he was in luck and he found her, so he opened her chambers, but things quickly took a turn. As Celeste walked out of her stasis, she asked what happened to the Republic, and that's when one of her assistants told her what happened. He told her that she's been frozen for 4,000 years, and that recently the Sith overthrew the Republic. From there, the assistant pointed towards Vader, indicating that he was a Sith himself, so this sent Celeste into a frenzy. So she leaped towards Vader, and the two went head-to-head in a lightsaber duel. Vader kept saying throughout the fight that he didn't want to harm her, but Celeste didn't care and did whatever she could to kill him. At points, she even threw large objects at him, and even got close to knocking him down. However, then she did the unexpected. Remember her Sith amulet that Vader wanted earlier? Well, to defeat Vader, Celeste actually harnessed the amulet's power. By doing this, all of Vader's clones then turned into mindless beasts, and they began attacking him. Realizing he was outmatched, Vader had no other option but to flee the fight. So, as all the beasts went after him, Vader quickly ran back to his shuttle and took off instantly. With that, this then became one of the only times where Vader actually ran away from a fight. Technically speaking though, Celeste did defeat him along with the help of the Beast, which makes this the 6th Jedi to defeat Vader. Number 7. Entering the 7th Jedi on our list, we fast forward to about 10 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith. At this point, Vader was more accumulated to his suit and was a lot stronger. However, there was one problem. He still hadn't gotten his revenge on Obi-Wan Kenobi. Luckily for him though, he would get his chance. After much time, Obi-Wan was eventually found, and after having a brief encounter, the two finally had their rematch against one another. This rematch took place on a desolate barren moon, and there was absolutely no interference. No lava, no clone troopers, nothing. Just Vader and Kenobi. So the two fought, and at the start, Vader got the upper hand, even almost defeating Obi-Wan. However, because of his arrogance, Obi-Wan was able to pick himself up and turn the fight around. Using all his strength, he threw every nearby rock at Vader, and after weakening him, he slashed him across his face with his lightsaber. With that, Vader was stumbling on the ground, and although he tried to pick himself up, he couldn't. Obi-Wan had won once again, and because of Vader's obsession and his arrogance, he lost. However, because of the relationship they once shared together, Obi-Wan refused to kill him. Although his old friend was now twisted and evil, he couldn't find it inside him to end his life. So, Obi-Wan walked away and let Vader live to see another day. Number 8 and number 9. Entering the next person on our list, we head into the Force Unleashed video games. In the first game, we see Vader recruit a young boy named Galen Merrick, or also known as Starkiller. From there, Vader raised him ever since he was a young boy and trained him as a secret apprentice for years, all behind Palpatine's back. Vader hoped that with enough training, they could team up and overthrow Palpatine together one day. However, let's just say that never happened. Eventually, Palpatine found out about Galen, and so when he did, he gave Vader a choice: die by his hands or betray his apprentice Galen to prove his loyalty. So, Vader chose Palpatine's side, and after feeling betrayed, Galen then learned to embrace the light side of the Force. For most of his life, he was trained as a dark side user under Vader, but now this betrayal made him see things from a new perspective. So, he trained under a Jedi Master and even helped join the Rebel Alliance at the time. Then eventually, he finally confronted Vader himself aboard the Death Star. Although their duel was close, Galen eventually overwhelmed Vader and beat him left and right, even slashing his entire mask off. From there, he then tossed Vader in the air and threw him, smashing him right into the Death Star window. With that, Vader was defeated by his very own apprentice. However, as Galen was about to finish Vader off, he was stopped by one of his Jedi friends to not kill Vader in anger. So this Jedi Force pulled Palpatine's saber and rushed in, but Palpatine struck him down with Force lightning. In the end, Galen listened to him and spared Vader's life, but sadly he died in a final fight against Palpatine himself. However, that wouldn't quite be the end of his story. In the following game, The Force Unleashed 2, we're introduced to a clone of Galen Marek. This clone looked, sounded, and really was identical to Galen, and what's crazy is that Vader himself was the one who created him. After his death, Vader brought Galen's body to the cloning facilities on Kamino. That way he could engineer the ultimate Sith apprentice. Clearly, it didn't work the first time around for him, so Vader tried once more, and in his eyes, a clone would fit those shoes. Unfortunately though, things would soon take a turn. In time, Galen's clone grew frustrated, as he wanted to uncover the truth of his own identity, so he confronted Vader himself. From there, the two fought head to head, and during their fight, Galen unleashed a fury against Vader. Vader underestimated him though, as he never expected a clone to be so skilled. He soon learned that this clone was faster, stronger, and more focused than the original Galen Marek, and so he tore through Vader's defenses. In the end, this clone beat and dropped Vader to his knees, defeating him once and for all. However, instead of killing him, he spared Vader's life and showed him mercy, allowing him to live on. With that though, that brings Vader to two different losses against Galen Marek, one against him and one against his clone. Number 10. Entering the 10th Jedi to defeat Vader, we fast forward years later to the events of Return of the Jedi. At this point, Vader knew that his son was Luke Skywalker, and so he brought him to Palpatine as a prisoner. This eventually led to a fight between Vader and Luke, and as we saw, the two clashed back and forth. However, Vader made the big mistake by taunting Luke, and so as a result, Luke lashed out in a frenzy and used his hate and anger to defeat Vader. Slicing off his hand and bringing him to the ground, Vader was defeated once more. Now, although Luke did tap into his anger to win, he chose not to fully embrace the dark side by refusing to kill Vader. Instead, he threw away his saber as we saw and let it be known that he was a Jedi, just like his father once was. With that though, that concludes our list of every single Jedi that defeated Darth Vader. But I want to know from you, out of all these defeats, which do you think was the most brutal loss for Vader? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you always.